My name is Gianna Rath, and today I will be talking about human trafficking and the internet's impact on this social issue. Are you aware that every year about 2 million children are exploited in the global sex trade? This number is even more gruesome in the fact that these kinds of crimes go often unreported, so the actual rates could be significantly higher. Due to the exponential increase in the use of social media and the advancements in technology, human trafficking has become an ever-deepening social issue because of how easy it is to happen. So, what is human trafficking? The act of human trafficking is a form of modern slavery, meaning that it deliberately strips the freedom away of someone who would be considered free. Using coercion and intimidation, criminals of human trafficking force children and adults into unwanted sexual acts and/or unpaid labor. Human trafficking is inherently complex, and each instance of it is completely unique and particular to each victim. It is primarily known for being a commercial sex industry, but experts believe that there are more instances of labor exploitation than there are of sex trafficking throughout the world. This global industry has amassed billions of dollars, and this number continues to increase as it is the fastest growing criminal enterprise in the world. So how does it happen? Well, it's commonly misconceived the victims of human trafficking are either kidnapped or physically forced into providing unwanted services by someone whom they do not know. In fact, perpetrators of human trafficking are usually the victim's partner or family member who use manipulation and threats to psychologically coerce that person into providing commercial sex or exploitative labor. Using the Domestic Abuse Intervention Project Duluth model, one can identify the types of abuse that could occur in human trafficking situations. Some of the recognizable types are emotional or physical abuse, isolation, and intimidation. Sometimes victims can be baited by false obligations of a job, like, for example, a modeling or a singing job. It's important to remember that when job offers or promises seem too good to be true, they often are. Who is targeted? Another myth about human trafficking is that mainly girls and women are trafficked, when in reality, experts believe that almost half of those who are being victimized are males, specifically young LGBTQ men who are significantly more vulnerable to human trafficking. Because of historical oppression and discrimination, people of color and the LGBTQ community are targeted more frequently than any other groups. Persons who fall victim to trafficking are not random, but rather are part of populations made vulnerable through economic injustice, racial or ethnic oppression, and gender discrimination, making this issue a sociological one. How are victims targeted? Well, with advancements of technology and the use of the internet, many criminals lure in their victims over social media platforms, giving them access to individuals all over the globe. Sites like Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook make it easy for criminals to follow a person's account, therefore gaining access to their personal lives. It allows them to message their victims directly without ever meeting. These criminals attach themselves to their victims by offering assistance financially, or they'll pretend to share romantic feelings with their victims. This will create this trust, leading to an in-person meeting of some kind. The internet is also used to sell children and adults for sex as a product. Websites like these have made payments for this type of transaction almost untraceable, making it even more difficult for law enforcement to track down the human trafficking criminals that are buying and selling human beings. How do we fix this social issue? The key to combating the sociological issue of human trafficking, which is prevalent worldwide, is education. Everyone should become aware of the ways to recognize it, comprehend what it is, and finally be able to intervene in situations of human trafficking. There are many resources located on the Office to Monitor and Combat Trafficking in Persons, or the TIP office, that identify the indicators of human trafficking, including but not limited to someone living in poor conditions, living with their employer and appear to not being paid or paid very little, and signs of any abuse, physically, emotionally, or sexually. An example that may not be as extreme as these indicators could also entail an online predator reaching out to one of your close friends and family members. If you notice that they are developing a close relationship with someone over the internet, step in and act. Social media is a powerful tool, And when used properly, it can raise awareness about serious issues like human trafficking and how to stop it. Now that we know some of the signs and we know what human trafficking looks like, intervention needs to take place. When suspicious activity takes place, send a text or call the human trafficking hotline phone number. Do not try to approach the situation by yourself, and if needed, notify law enforcement. Education of this topic should be made readily available by schools, places of employment, and in public spaces like stores or libraries. Socioeconomically, this issue can be improved if better and more sustainable employment opportunities are implemented in countries of origin. These jobs would get rid of the profit for human trafficking by changing the societal conditions that assist in the exploitation of human beings.